Two of America's top adversaries are deepening ties and undermining U.S. sanctions. According
to a new According to a new Wall Street Journal report, China is quietly funneling billions of dollars to Iran, propping up the world's leading state sponsor of terrorism and skirting U.S. sanctions. Beijing is doing it through a shadow barter system, buying Iranian oil while bypassing the global banking system, trading crude shipments for massive infrastructure projects.
We're talking up to $8.4 billion in backdoor payments last year to finance Chinese construction projects in Iran. And the scale is massive. Tehran exported about $43 billion worth of oil in 2024, and Western officials estimate roughly 90% of that went straight to China.
Interior Secretary Doug Burgum taking to X to warn of China's growing threat while Washington is at a standstill, writing, quote, "We cannot afford to fall behind in the AI arms race or surrender our energy future to foreign adversaries. POTUS is fighting to keep America competitive, but congressional Democrats, they need to act now."
Secretary Burgum joins us now. Secretary, thanks for being with us today. Appreciate your time.
I think he just got out of the Oval Office.
That's right. Maybe you can tell us now what you guys talked about in the Oval Office, as well as how important it is to get the situation with Iran and China resolved. How can we, here we are worried about what's going on with the federal government, the budget, but this in the background, what do you make of it?
Well, this is what President Trump has been talking about and what's going on. Same thing with Russia. Anyone who's buying Russian oil or buying Iranian oil if you're buying Iranian oil, you're funding terrorism. If you're buying Russian oil, you're funding a war against our allies in Europe. And so this is why President Trump is trying to shut down all the Iranian and Russian oil sales and why it has to happen. But no surprise that China has been doing this barter system. Shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. They've got the same thing with their Belt and Road project. They loaned all kinds of money for infrastructure projects around the world, including to Venezuela. Venezuela owes China about $18 billion. How is Venezuela paying off that debt? They're paying it off with Venezuelan oil.
Let's talk a little bit more about the Ambler Road project. I know you were a big advocate of that. I wonder if you were talking to the president about that in the Oval Office. It's a project he's favored for some time, a 211-mile road that would unlock minerals needed to win the AI arms race. How important is that in our relationship with China?
Well, it's critically important because on the area of rare earth minerals, critical minerals, China today controls 85 to 100% of all the refining on the 20 most important rare earth minerals that are essential for defense, essential for automotive, essential for high tech in our country. They have a stranglehold on that marketplace. We have to break it. President Trump knows that, and we have to get back to mining in our country. It's not just drill baby drill. It's mine baby mine with President Trump. And President Trump approved this Ambler Road during his first term. Biden reversed it. There's a methodology set in code where the President of the United States, if there's an appeal from the state of Alaska, which they did, they filed an appeal. President Trump made a ruling today. He agreed with that appeal. This road is now going to get built, as you said, a 211-mile road that connects to the Alaskan Haul Road, which goes up to the North Slope. It's going to allow one of the richest mining areas in the world, some of the richest deposits of things like copper, gold, silver, lead, gallium, germanium, that are all needed for us to win the AI arms race. This is going to allow those to be unlocked. This is going to be billions of dollars of value to Alaskans, Alaskan Native Corporation. This is a win for America, and again, President Trump leading the way.
Well, Secretary, when you look at the executive order, I think it was 14153 signed back in January. I really bifurcate those into two specific topics. One is the energy independence that we want to have as a nation. The second is really deregulating things. And so the senators from Alaska are looking to capitalize on their natural resources. Can you talk a little bit more about how that state could prosper from this as well?
Well, the state of Alaska is just an amazing place. It's hard to grasp the size and the scale and the resources that are there, but Alaska is the size of California plus Texas plus Montana plus New Mexico. And across that enormous landscape, it's rich in all kinds of, not just oil and gas, but also in all kinds of minerals. And they have been locked up. I mean, sometimes the other 49 states treat Alaska like a colony, but as a former governor, I can tell you it's a state. They have the right to self-determination. The state of Alaska, the Alaskan natives, the Alaska Native corporations, they have the ability, and no one cares more about Alaska than the people that live there. The idea that everybody down in the lower 48 thinks they know what's best for Alaska, that has to stop. Alaskans can take care of themselves, and they care about the clean air, clean water, the environment, but they also know that if we're exporting mining, like the Biden administration was, to the rest of the world, the United States does it cleaner, smarter, and safer than anywhere else in the world.
Right.
If you care about the environment, you should want to have all of that done here, and we do not have national security if we don't have energy security, and we don't have national security if we don't have mineral security, and Alaska is an absolute essential to the future of this country.
Well, I might be a little biased on that topic. I'm actually a coal miner's granddaughter, so I hear what you're saying. But I have to ask you this one question one more time that we asked you before. We didn't get you to answer. What'd you talk to the president about?
Well, we were in the Oval Office for a formal meeting, and he signed today the document which allows the Ambler Road to proceed. So that was a historic moment to be able to do that. Then he held a press briefing, as he does, so transparent, so available to everyone. And then that rolled into a discussion about ideas that he has about making D.C. More safe and more beautiful. And of course, under President Trump and with Interior, the U.S. Park Police playing a key role, but also the National Park, the National Mall, all the things that are here. He's got a great vision how to make Washington, D.C. the greatest capital and the safest capital in the world.
Thank you, Secretary. Appreciate it.
Thank you.